Hello and welcome to the latest edition of You Should Have Been Here Last Week, the podcast hosted by myself, Steve Gribbin, and fellow comedian Paul Ricketts.
Evening.
You Should Have Been Here Last Week is the podcast that peers into the murky depths of the backstage area of the comedy industry and looks at the movers, the shakers, the piss takers, the muck rakers that make up this biz that we laughingly call show. Now, today's episode, special one, is going to be very topical. We're looking at the furore, I like saying that word, furore, generated by self-styled edgelord Andrew Lawrence and his tweeted joke 20 minutes after the events of Monday the 26th of May, after Liverpool Football Club's victory parade in Water Street, just down by the pier head in Liverpool, where police estimate 109 people were injured by a man driving a car into the crowd. Andrew Lawrence has since had several gigs pulled on him, and so today's episode we'll be asking questions, how far is too far with joke, what are the limits of free speech, and is there a limit, who books it? Yeah, so we'll kick it off. So Andrew Lawrence it's not like he hasn't had form in this area, is it?
Yes, I mean, he's done similar really bad jokes with bad timing before, and nobody seems to be defending the quality of these jokes. Both the one that he did with after the European Championship final.
Do you remember what it was?
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, all the white people, all the white players scored.
Yeah, but the way he phrased it says, all I'm saying is all the white players scored. And apparently he did say something after that, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, it got worse after that, which I don't have to spend my life remembering people saying racist things as a joke. Otherwise I've had too many experiences. I like to wipe them from my memory. But, yeah, it was a really poor joke. And even at the time, no one ever said, well, that's a cracking gag. It's not. It's a really awful, hacky, badly timed gag, just like this one is. Even I was reading Simon Evans' defence of Andrew Lawrence, and in no part of it does he say what a cracking gag it was. Doesn't even go near that. He doesn't say it's any good, because it isn't any good. It's the first thing that popped into his head. For a comic as good as Andrew Lawrence is, because he is a good comic. I used to be a fan, especially his early work, which was distinctive. And even I had a quick look at his political stuff today. It's okay. It's coming from the angle you expect, but it's not terribly done. It's okay comedy. I won't laugh at it, but I can recognise the skills in it. But I can't recognise any skill in the comment that he did after the what happened at the Liverpool parade. There is no skill in that.
I mean, part of the outrage that's generated is because he did it like 20 minutes after it happened, when people didn't know whether anyone was... it was very, very soon after the news came out, wasn't it? And the whole thing was very confused. People didn't know whether everyone was dead or alive, or... Do you know what I mean? So the timing of it was skew-whiff. But it sort of begs the question, doesn't it? Should he have had all his gigs cancelled on him or not?
I'm going to say yes, because you take responsibility for what comes out of your gob. And if you say something like that, there is no way that someone of Andrew Lawrence's intelligence didn't know that in both these two occasions we've just referred to, he knew what the response was going to be. Yeah, he's not an idiot. He knows what the response... It's triggering. It's trolling. It's not clever. Both the things aren't clever. They're just him trying to get a bit of notoriety by saying completely the wrong thing at the right time as far as he's concerned.
So, I mean, the next step for him then would probably be to put on his own gigs then.
He's already doing that. He's in no different a position today than he was a year ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago. or 11 years ago. He's been in this position for some time. All that's happened over time is that bit by bit, he's suddenly realised, oh, wait a minute, let me wait for the next disaster and get a bit of notoriety. The amazing thing was I looked at the amount of news publications that covered this, and there's about 10 or 12 news items. And the interesting one was the BBC actually put his age at 37, and he's nowhere near that age. And I'm thinking, he must be reading that thinking that's the only time he's been happy about the BBC in the last 12 years.
Yeah. I mean, the venue that cancelled the gig quite vocally was a place called Caddies in Southend. So maybe he's had a lucky escape there. You don't know. I'm making no assumptions about Caddies. It could be a great gig.
Oh, how could you make awful assumptions about Southend after he's just made awful assumptions about Liverpool? You're putting yourself in a difficult position.
No, I'm not saying anything about Southend. I'm just saying that I don't know what Caddies is like. Is it? Do you reckon it's attached to a golf club? It probably is.
Yeah, sounds like it, and sounds like the perfect audience. You could have missed out on a fantastic gig there. Could have been the opposite.
Well, I mean, but it does sort of beg the question. I mean, how far is too far with as far as jokes go on stage?
One thing. This isn't on stage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
On stage, there is more latitude because you're just dealing with the people in that room. And I'm sure if he did that joke at Comedy Unleashed, they would have been a bit of a woo, but people would have laughed because that's the audience. He's in London. If he was doing Comedy Unleashed in Bethnal Green, full of people from the right, him making a joke about Liverpool probably would have gone down all right. That's why when people say you can't say nothing these days on stage, yes, you can. You've got to read the room. And if the room was Comedy Unleashed, or even Caddies in Southend with a load of golfers, probably might have been okay.
Can I just say then the context of it is important then, because we're talking about a new reality that we're all living in. It's like lots and lots of people are commenting on stuff online and putting their gags out there. And there's no way that's not, it's a whole new ball game, as it were, because you can't, if it's live and it's in the moment and you get the reaction of the people, the online thing is a completely different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
the same rules apply, that even if you did it in the room and everyone went crazy and said that's out of order, and let's say there was a whole group of Liverpool golfers that have come down to play at Caddies, and he did that joke and they went crazy about it, he would have to take responsibility for it, and he couldn't just get away as the room went crazy go, what about freedom of speech? I mean, that's not going to cut it in that situation. You, of all people, know that you have to take responsibility for saying some political things in a room, and you read the room accordingly and make certain that if there's a line, that you're flirting around the edge of it. And of course, this thing that he said in social media and the timing of it, way over, if there is such a thing as a line, and I think there is a line. I think there's a line where if people get upset, you can't moan about it. Not if you know it's going to upset loads of people. And it's not the same as a room where you can make a judgment, and you can also deal with it once something happens, because you can sort of spin it or do all sorts of things to make it palatable. But he wouldn't have gone to Hot Water. Let's say he was performing at Hot Water that night. Would he have done that joke? No way.
No, yes, I would guess not.
Of course he wouldn't.
Not if he wanted to walk out alive,
No.
But it's one of those things about it's that whole thing as well as the sort of keyboard warrior syndrome as well, that people now feel that they can say anything they want because they're behind their keyboard, and it's not like saying it to someone's face, is it? Yeah.
I mean, that's why I miss the fact that in the pub, saying things like that you could turn around to them and say, look, mate, I mean, I think that's a bit out of order what you just said there. That's not funny. I'd zip it and I wouldn't say that again
Yeah.
if I was you, and he'd have to take it off you and make a judgment. Well, do I say it again? Well, I don't know. Oh, well, I'll say it when I get to work in the morning on the building site. But apart from that, no, I'm not going to say it. It's a building site joke. It's a warehouse joke. It's a really crappy, hacky joke. It's got nothing. It's got nothing to defend it apart from this frivolous free speech shit. And yeah, okay, you do have freedom of speech to say what you want.
Yeah, well, people have got the freedom of speech to reply to you that you're an absolute twat if they want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, of course, he would, I'm being devil's advocate here, but he would argue that now he's being deprived of places to play because of what he said. And that's a different thing from criticising what he said.
I could have, not that I would, but as an example, I could have said all sorts of terrible things on the death of the Queen. I'm a Republican. It would have been politically from the position I'm at. But I'm not going to do that because, one, I have a certain amount of respect for the monarchy, even if it's a small amount, but I still do, especially for the Queen, the former Queen. But if I did say the stupid thing and lots of people have gone crazy at me, I would have to take responsibility for that and not come back with this ridiculous, well, it's freedom of speech. Yes, I know I've got that. But, if you're going to say stupid things, expect a comeback.
Yeah, but I mean, in the sense that does happen a lot, though, when people are, I mean, it probably happens less now, but I do remember being on Up the Creek with Mark Thomas the day after Diana had died. No, the day of Diana's funeral. And he did do a set, and it was very funny, but some people in the audience did not like it at all and tried to storm the stage, and it got very messy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, that sort of thing can happen as well. Where it doesn't matter. So if it is funny, but if it upsets people, then I think we've got to draw the line with the Andrew Alonso. I don't agree with people finding out his private address and then putting it on.
Yeah.
That's out
of order. Fine. There's no line with
completely,
that.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with his family, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And the threat of violence as well is like, no, everyone deserves to be. You can argue and debate stuff, but no, going around and punching people is just not the answer.
Yeah, I mean, all of these things are true. I'd even say that personally, I get on with Andrew Lawrence. I always have done when I've gigged with him. And I used to watch him as a punter in his early days and was a big fan. Obviously now he's unfriended me on Facebook because I did come back at him and pointed out that something that he said was incorrect because I was actually at the place at the time that he was talking about and was able to say to him, no, you're wrong. I'm here. I've seen it. I can give you some pictures if you want. And he just went, no, I don't want any social justice warriors or to be friends of mine, and unfriended me straight away. And that's the first time anyone called me a social justice warrior. And I'm still trying to work out where's the insult in there.
Yeah, archaeologists in the future are going to unearth the remains of the social justice warriors.
But he doesn't deserve violence. I think he said today, it will help his career, and it will up to a certain degree. He'll play to an audience that want that sort of thing. And the weird thing is, I've gigged with him, and he's been there with a mainly male working class audience, waiting for him to do outrageous right-wing comedy. And of course what he does on a normal Saturday night is his really quite relatable, family orientated comedy, and you could see they were being disappointed. And I spoke to him afterwards. I said, you didn't seem to enjoy that. And I go, is it the audience? And he goes, no, I don't like that sort of audience. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, that's going to be your audience
Yeah.
That is now your audience.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, that's what happened to Jerry Sadowitz, because he found himself boxed in by that. He's brilliant, but at a certain point, his notoriety gained him an audience that he despised. He couldn't stand it. But it was. I know he's sort of broken out of that now, but there was at one point where he was on tour and the people that were coming to see him were not his sort of people at all, but they were attracted by the fact that he'd said some very outrageous things,
He's in no different position than he was before. Of course, Hot Water, the preeminent comedy gig in Liverpool, of course they're going to say we're not going to book him, even though they never booked him before. But they're never going to book him. And taking on a city like Liverpool, he's not an idiot. He knows that this is going to happen.
Yeah. I was going to say the Comedy Store as well weighed in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Oh, I don't know. It's a slippery slope. I mean, I know it was a terrible joke, etc., etc. But I think if it was on stage, it would have been different, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But even then, though, we live in a world now where people are filming stuff on stage and then going, oh, isn't this terrible that so-and-so said such a thing? So, and again, it's like that is, if someone's filming on their phone surreptitiously and then takes it away, it becomes something different from what it was when they're actually seeing it happen in real time, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, in the room is different from stuck out on the internet. That's the whole world can see it. And making your pronouncements on the internet, you need to take that into account and decide what if it's going to adversely affect your career, why would you do it? I do think there's an element of that he's almost got Tourette's of the keyboard, that he just can't stop himself from saying some terrible things when they happen.
I tend to think it's more calculated than that, and he knows very well what the outcome will be,
I mean, also, I've got my problem with the defenders, with Simon Evans and all the people who are going, well, he's allowed to say what he wants. He shouldn't be cancelled, blah, blah, blah. Any booker is allowed to decide who they book. That's freedom of booking. Let's get to that as a right. Much as sometimes we all hate it, but unfortunately, any booker and promoter has freedom of booking. Yeah,
I mean, often, as we both know, it's often, and all venues kind of reflect the personality and the beliefs of the people that run it. So sometimes they're just not going to like a certain act, or and it is the perennial moan in the dressing room at comedy gigs, isn't it? So you mentioned, Flanges Club in South Wickham. Oh, they don't book me.
Yeah,
and it's like, and there's that edge of. we've all got those clubs.
Yes, we all do.
We all know. We all know who they are.
Yeah, and we've all got clubs that they never book me. And some of us more than others, but that's just the nature of the business. And he's going to end up with a bigger list of, obviously he's not going to be doing comedy for kids. I can't see that happening. It's just, he's not going to be able to do those gigs. Yeah. Probably never would. But no, he could have done with his family stuff, because his family stuff is so relatable. It's well written, but it is incredibly relatable. And yeah, I mean, there seems to be a couple of sides to him. There's that side. There's the original Andrew Lawrence that was really distinctive and weird and surreal. Then there was in a suit with a tie.
Yeah.
Trying to be as normal as possible, but the audience still looked at him and went, no, there's something weird about that guy. There's just something weird about him. And now there's, that has become his staple Saturday weekend persona. And then there is now this online person, and he's now got a set to go with it, and probably shows to go with it.
Can I just say, though, Paul, in a way, though, the fact that I mean,
Yes.
it's been like 50. We've been talking about him, and his name has been mentioned. I mean, in a way, it's had the desired effect, hasn't it? That
Yeah.
we're all talking about it.
I know. The start of this year, a promoter contacted me to see if I wanted to perform with him on a night called he's going to call it the Unbookables.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice, isn't it?
And the closer was Andrew Lawrence, and I'm thinking, why are you asking me?
Yeah, I know.
Why are you? Why? He was asking me about other acts that have been in trouble. So I'm going to try and get them on the bill as well. And I'm thinking, but why are you asking me?
Well, does he know something you don't?
The Unbookables. So I said no, but even that, it was sold out.
Yeah.
In the end, it wasn't the Unbookables. It was just Andrew Lawrence on his own because it was sold out. It sold out so quickly. It was sold out within minutes. So there's an audience there. And so the whole cancelled thing is a load of old twaddle. It's just, in the end, none of these comics get cancelled. They just find a narrower audience. Roy Chubby Brown, he can't play certain council venues, but every summer he's living on the pier in Great Yarmouth, packing it out every night and making his money. Am I supposed to feel sorry for him that he's not on TV? No, I'm not, because he's an awful, awful racist comic. But so I don't feel sorry for him.
Should change the name of the show to The Bookables.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So nobody really gets cancelled. That's the point. It's the whole cancelled thing is just a way to make anti-heroes out of these people.
I mean, Man in the Pub can occasionally make... I mean, this happened, I told you this many years ago when I used to live in Hither Green, which is an area in South East London. There was a pub there called the Spotted Cow, which was rough as fuck. It really was. But we were all sat in there, and it was on the night of Diana's funeral. And like a load of sirens just went past the pub, and some bloke just, without even turning this in days you could smoke, just went, obviously lost the coffin. I mean, which is absolutely horrible joke, but it was funny though. At the time, it was, and even then, I mean, that was a really weird time. I don't know whether you remember that, where it was really.
I do.
Because I was making gags about it and getting threatened for it as well, and it was hard. It was really hard because people just did not want to hear it.
No. Good luck to him. Good luck to him having to perform to these audiences, which I don't think he actually likes. He went to a lovely, nice grammar school and done a really good university. And now he's going to be talking to builders for the rest of his life. So, and before people say I'm snobby against builders, I've done painting and decorating. So therefore, I'm a tradesman.
Tradesman.
A couple of things. I made some... it's basically the Simon Evans, because he was using the fact that it was a trope. It's the whole thing about Liverpool being a terrible place is a trope.
Sake. Yeah.
To which it's not. It's hack. It's in this context, it's cruel. It is cruel, hacky shit.
Well, the concept that made it cruel was the fact that it was the timing of it.
Yeah.
When nobody knew what was happening, and it was obviously, it's like inappropriate in the extreme. As people could have been dead, etc., etc. So
the other point that Simon Evans made was that nobody died, and then he says, "But there shouldn't even be a line in comedy." But there is. There's got to be, if you're going to be on the line or over the line, it's got to be really funny. It's got to be some sort of original take for you to get away with addressing this contentious subject. And Lawrence's joke is neither of them things.
No. Yeah.
So I can't see that argument. And then you also said that he's testing the limits of liberal comedy establishment. And no, he hasn't. He's never really done that. He's made some terrible jokes and moaned about not being on telly. And that isn't testing the limits of the liberal comedy establishment. It's like you said, all comics do it. But he just did it in a way that was extra political because he blamed it on women and black people. I would only say this. There's the other interesting thing that Simon Evans said, that Gary Lineker had freedom of speech issue, and which is absolutely spot on. You can make a comparison, and I'm glad that he did. But then he says that all he's done was make a huge waves of people feel really quite angry. And I'm thinking, well, what's the difference between that and Andrew Lawrence?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Yeah. I can say, I absolutely, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, but the Gary Lineker thing, I suppose that he would, he was edged out, wasn't he, after the...
No, he was properly cancelled. That's the thing. You're talking about lose your job and have no other work to go to apart from some podcasts. I mean, let's face it, if I go back comedy and you have to do this for a living, I'll be buggered. Obviously, but he's going to make more money than me, obviously, but both of us. But that's properly cancelled. And when the cancelling comes from the other side, right against the left, the right do it properly. They really do stop people.
Yeah.
Andrew Lawrence will continue working, whereas... he won't do Match of the Day ever again. You got what you wanted. Yeah,
but I mean, it has to be said. I mean, Gary's, I do hugely admire it, but he's not going to be penniless and in the gutter, is he?
No.
He's not.
No. We could mention the Reginald D. Hunter situation.
Oh, go ahead.
Which I just read about yesterday, about the fact that I think anti-Semitic organisation turns out that they brought a private prosecution against him, saying that he had made racist anti-Semitic tweets, and apparently there was a court date and he didn't turn up, and now there's a warrant out. So once again, I think we said this before, but you should be really careful about what you put out online. No one tweets with impunity, especially if there's a group who are just looking online for stuff to go at comics about.
Again, this is kind of a slippery slope, though. I can't help feeling that if people are going to be... I suppose, I don't know, because we can't really, in a way, it's hard to comment because I haven't seen the tweets, so I don't know what they were about, and I don't even know whether they were intended as jokes. I'm assuming that they were, but I don't know. So it's hard to know, really, because I just sort of like draw the line at being prosecuted for jokes, because then we're getting right down the bloody rabbit hole, aren't we, of oppressive regimes all over the world do that.
But when you are breaking the law, and there is a law, I have no idea. I don't know whether or not, because I don't know what the tweets were. I have no idea. Can't make a judgment either way. But there is that law, and that's what they're prosecuting him under. And the very idea that there's organisations out there with money to start these private prosecutions from either whatever side of the political divide you're on, we are living in particularly peculiar times.
I think everybody agrees that a live gig is kind of a sacred space in the sense that, you shouldn't be scared of saying what, you believe. I mean, obviously it's got to be funny. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, because otherwise people are going to then feel scared of saying anything that's going to rock the boat.
I wouldn't worry so much about on stage. I would worry about stuff online. You can slander, libel, break other laws. It's not the same thing. And using the freedom of speech argument is a bit more difficult once it's in print.
Yeah, I suppose very true. Yeah.
So I think that's about it, isn't it? I think, plus the fact it's getting darker where I'm sitting at the minute, and you won't be able to see me in about 5 minutes' time.
Cancelled.
Cancelled by the sun.
Cancelled.
So that's the end.
Right.
That's it. We've discussed this enough. We will put some stuff out online that is going to be well-chosen words that won't get us into trouble. Hopefully, Andrew Lawrence don't come after both of us.
I haven't slagged him off. He's a very, very good comic.
He is. So if you've enjoyed this episode, or even if you haven't, then have a go at us. Put it into words. Put yourself in danger. Yeah.
Please like, support, share. Yeah. That'll stoke the algorithms.
Thrown down the gauntlet now, haven't I? We'll see you on the next one because we've got very little time. So we'll say bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
They said you should have been in line.